Hi there, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I did Woofie's walk animation. So now let's start animating Woofie. So go ahead and right click on icon position and let's just make this a little bigger so we have more space to work with. And let's actually just animate a 2D walk cycle on him. If you're a beginner is to search walk cycle and get one of these templates to work from, I would suggest a cartoonish looking one because we're working with some cartoons here. First we need to have him face a certain direction like so, and now we need to move his arms into the right position when he's getting ready to walk. As you can see, it's not bending the right direction. So what we would have to do is we go into our rubber hose here and we click on manage and we click on this icon right here. So now we can go ahead and if you hit the rotate button, which is up here, you can rotate the axis you want, and I normally put it like around here. Now we click on this button again, and if you click on this, you can see it rotates around that axis. So this is good for now, and we can always edit it later. So now he's facing this direction, so the arm needs to be behind the body. So we're gonna go ahead and select the arm left and just drag it underneath the body, and now it's behind the body. So here we can see some small issue with the rig. I should have made the buttons a separate layer as well as this belt icon, so we could have moved it a little bit to the right. So now we have our first pose here, so we can now select all our components and then press P to get the positions and hit the keyframe button. So this will record its position in the time frame here, and now we can move ahead in the timeline, and then if we move something like say the arm, it's going to interpolate between the two and you can see it's animating. Now let's go ahead and make the second pose somewhere along here. Alright, so this is a little bit like how the second pose should look, and now let's go to the third pose. So this is our third pose, and now let's do our final pose. Alright, so now we have 4 different poses, and then the 5th pose is going to be the same repetition of the first pose. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. So my copy and paste doesn't really work for some reason, so I'm just going to make a keyframe like this and just drag it across like so, and then copy this and just move it back into its original position. So now what you want to do is to just play it within this keyframes and then hit play, and now you can see it's an animated cycle. Of course it needs some refinement, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I would say the body is the most important when it comes to animating because you can work off the body. So we're going to go ahead and first make the body look smooth and cartoonish. So what we're going to do first is highlight all the keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, and easy E. So now it'll make things look a little smoother, a little bit, and now this will give us room to animate some more. So as you can see between here, it's moving up. Somewhere in the middle, we'll make another keyframe, and we can move this keyframe here, and then over here, let's make another keyframe, and then we'll move this somewhere here. So now it'll stay up there a little longer. You can see it's a little too much right now. So let's go ahead and move this a little bit closer. So now you can see it looks a little weird, but let's go ahead and add the same thing to the second cycle of the body. So it's still looking a little weird because we got a cartoonish animation on the body and the rest is not cartoonish. So let's go ahead and make it more cartoonish by exaggerating some of the motions. So for example, his back is now leaning back a little, and we can bend him back maybe a little. He's looking a little bit better. The legs need some refining and the arms too. So now we see these two positions here in the arm, and as you can see it looks completely weird. So we need to go ahead and refine it. So what I would suggest to get the cartoonish animation is that same thing we did in the body. We would select all the keyframes and click on easy ease. So then we hit the keyframe button over here, and then we can move this here. Same on the other side, and then moving it a little bit to the left. Now it's stopping and starting really smoothly. So now let's go ahead and tweak that swaying motion we have in the arm. So now we have a little bit more of a cartoonish walk here. So keep in mind, cartoonish animations are way more exaggerated in terms of motion. So I can show you a couple of examples. So this is a cartoonish walk with exaggerated arm motion, and then something like this which is more realistic. You can see it's much less exaggerated, but basically exaggerating the smoothness of everything and also the motion is how you achieve the cartoonish art style. So now we're going to do the same for the legs, exaggerate the motion, and I shall see you in a bit. Keep in mind, if you want to tweak the curves and stuff, you can see over here there was an issue with my leg, it's bouncing a little. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on this and then tweak it like so, and you can do the same for other keyframes up here. So now I can see the body cycle is done. The arms could need some improvement, but I shall save that for later. So now let's go ahead and animate the head. So something to keep in mind here when we're animating the head and also all the other motions is basically how springs work. So if you move something like a feather fast, it looks something like this. So say my hand is an object, it would move like this and the fingers would move back, and then when it stops, it'll move like this, right? So it'll move like this and like this. If you can grasp this sort of concept fully, I think you can master cartoonish animations. So for the head's animation, we're going to apply just what we learned. Let's just go ahead and add a keyframe in the middle. So we have 3 positions and 3 keyframes on them. And now in the middle of those keyframes, let's go ahead and move the head forward, because if you think about that spring effect, when you reach for something in a cartoonish animation, your head would like move back. Instead, in real life, we would just reach out and just grab something, right? So we're just trying to take that into consideration when we're animating cartoon animations. So same here. Let's move him forward, and now when he moves this way, he's going to reach back with his head. And now when we hit play, it looks pretty cool. I'm just going to refine this a little more. So now we have the body and the head animation done. So the final thing is going to be the facial animation. So we're just going to drag this up. I'm just going to randomly move this around. That's about it for animating the character. Animation is something you have to just train. You can't really do research much into it. You can get some principles and stuff, but it's all about practice in the end. So I highly urge you to just practice with this character. The download will be in the description for this, so make sure you check it out.